Comments that say, I miss when MTV used to only play music. Those people are most likely ages 43 and older because that's how old you would have to be to remember that. What I'm saying is it's been a very long time since MTV only showed music. Sorry to 20% of my audience range, I didn't mean to diss y'all. Remember content.
I actually didn't even know MTV was fully music like that at a point. I generally didn't realize that.
Wow. TRL entirely, but it certainly helped. So many fans showed up outside the TRL studio during their appearance that the NYPD were forced to shut down the roads in Times Square. One of the world, May 2000, Eminem would host his own version of TRL dubbed MTV, where he referred to music videos from the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Britney Spears as trash.
Yesterday on TRL.
From what I hear, MTV was quite popular around in the 80s especially. I've seen stuff like, the first, music video, and there was like Video Killed a Radio Star. I know people like Michael Jackson, Madonna had quite a few music videos that blew up on MTV. Like, from what I'm aware, MTV shaped the culture during these times, or during like the 80s especially. Sick. I'm really curious to see what kind of led to the destruction of MTV. Speaking of which, guys, I'm doing some bonus content on the Patreon for those guys that aren't aware, posting new movie reactions, album reviews, and sitcom reviews every week. I've got, at the moment, around 50 plus exclusive bits of content on there at the moment. So if you guys are interested in getting that extra dose of nostalgia, as a Gen Z perspective on a lot of these classics that I'm showing you guys on the screen, and I'll definitely recommend checking out the Patreon, linked in the description below. Of course, it'll be great to support the channel, guys, if you love my content. But yeah, this is coming from Patrick CC's channel. So guys, look, of course, link to the original video will be in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, guys, enough said. Look, if you like how I do these kinds of throwback where I go back in time, then don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss another one of these videos from me. And of course, guys, look, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
There was the 80s, where they played music videos 24/7. The 90s, with The Real World, Beavis and Butthead, Yo MTV Raps. The 2000s, with TRL, True Life, Jackass, Spring Break, Cribs. The 2010s, with Jersey Shore and Teen Mom. Or sadly, today, with 24 hours straight of ridiculousness. MTV holds a special place in all of our hearts. They defined generations of youth culture, inspired and changed music forever. But as the years went on, they slowly lost their identity, struggled to maintain profitability, and failed to adapt to the rapid shifting media landscape. This is the amazing rise and sad, slow downfall of music television. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, guys. You know I gotta stay hydrated as well.
This is the very first segment that ever aired on MTV.
Wait, is that the space shuttle?
Ladies and gentlemen,
oh no, go into space. Oh, he's playing the first couple of clips.
The rocket blasting off was a beautifully artistic way to introduce the network that would dominate popular culture for the next 20 to 30 years. This first broadcast, which was on August 1st, 1981, was only available in certain parts of New Jersey. As if it couldn't get any more artistic, the first song they ever telecasted was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles.
I've reacted to this song.
MTV would go on to play almost exclusively music videos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 6 years straight. But even if it wasn't music videos, it was still 100% music-related programming. That's a lot of demand to keep up with. If only there was a little cheat code to making music production and songwriting more accessible and efficient. Luckily today, we have Songstarter. Songstarter provides...
Good segue, man. Get your money up, bro. I respect it. I'm going to jump ahead, though. Shout out to Jumpstarter. Let's see. Alright, look, now my thing's buffering. See, look what I get for skipping the ads, man. Alright, I'm back. I don't know what that was about. Internet's bugging, man.
My coupon code PatrickCC25. So when you see comments that say, I miss when MTV used to only play music, those people are most likely ages 43 and older because that's how old you would have to be to remember that. What I'm saying is it's been a very long time since MTV only showed music. Sorry to 20% of my audience range, I didn't mean to diss y'all. Remember, music videos were basically unheard of at this point. MTV was a huge reason why...
Wait, let me hear that part again.
Remember, music videos were basically unheard of at this point. MTV was a huge reason why artists became interested in creating music videos, because they now had a network that would distribute them to the audience. In the beginning, a lot of the same videos got played since they didn't have that many options. But pretty quickly, it became an industry standard for artists to create a music video for a single or album. During the 80s, the only break from music videos on MTV would be for video jockeys, who would give an intro or an outro to a song, give a quick little backstory to a band or a song, maybe some general music news, but this only took up a few minutes of airtime.
And behold, a new concept is born.
The best of TV combined with the best of radio.
The first shows on MTV were
So
still 100%
interesting.
music focused.
And you know the crazy part about it is I didn't realize how much music videos is definitely more of a recent thing, especially like since I think before this time we didn't really have music videos like that. I think anytime I do a reaction to a song or something about a song that's like 70s around there, it's rare you'll get a music video. I don't even know if you got them. I think for the most part it's live performances from like these rock bands that I see for the most part, but I don't know. I don't think music, yeah, from what I'm aware, music videos from this time period weren't really a thing like that until like, I'm guessing MTV made it kind of more of a thing. This is interesting though, because obviously I'm used to looking at it from a lens where music videos are just standard. Like you can't have a popular song without a music video these days.
Combined with the best of radio.
The first shows on MTV were still 100% music focused. Profiles in Rock, Fast Forward, Heavy Metal Mania, The Cutting Edge. These were programs
Force Forward,
dedicated to
Heavy Metal
documenting
Mania.
and discussing music
Cutting
rather
Edge.
than just watching music videos. MTV hosted the first annual Video Music Award show in 1984, which would bring even more relevance and importance to the music video in itself. I'm very confident in saying that music videos are still extremely important
What kind
today.
of suit
and
is
that
this
they
guy
wouldn't
wearing? That's
be-
like such an he's got like, I don't know what that shirt is. It's an E.T. Is he referencing an E.T. movie? If that's some E.T. related shirt. From what I'm aware, E.T. was popular around these times as well. So I feel like that just probably just shows you the time of the times, man. I showed up to an MTV, perform live show, like award show in this kind of fit. That's interesting. I wonder who this guy is.
I'm very confident in saying that music videos are still extremely important today and that they wouldn't be what they are without MTV's vision. In 1986, they
Wow.
broadcasted the first annual spring break
MTV
coverage.
kinda
College kids partying down
started
in
it.
Florida had been a cultural norm for Americans since the 1930s.
Spring
But in
break.
1985, all hell broke loose when 370,000 kids showed up to Fort Lauderdale, which led to
Yo.
2,500 arrests.
Why so
MTV's coverage over
many?
the years made kids all over the world yearn for the day that they could visit Florida and party on the beach for a week. Unfortunately, MTV wasn't very profitable as
That's
a 100% music-based network. They did not have to pay to play these music videos, which was good, but they also did not get paid by record labels to play them. So the only way they could make money was by selling ad spots, which is essentially
okay.
the backbone of how TV shows and now content creators make money. As ubiquitous and all-encompassing music
Right.
is, music content is
ads.
actually very niche. So getting people to watch MTV for long periods of time was difficult. And obviously, the more people watching, the more advertisers are willing to spend, meaning the more money you're going to make. 100% of you watching this like music. A significantly smaller percentage of you like watching music content, at least consistently. You click over to MTV, a song is playing that you like, you stay and watch. The moment they play a song you don't like, you click off. Let's say they're
Right, that
doing a
makes
biography
sense.
on a band you don't like or that you don't know. Most of you click off. Chances are you'd
Right.
rather spend your time learning about a band you do like. So all of us like music, but actually only a small group of very open-minded people like watching, learning about, and listening to music that we either don't know or are unsure if we like or not.
That's so
Granted,
true.
there was no other music channel back in the 80s, so maybe people were a bit more complacent. But MTV still prioritized top 20s hits and repeated the same popular songs you were hearing on the radio. It was a safe way to keep people's attention, but angered the niche community of people who wanted fresh music content. The financial struggle reached a tipping point, and it was time for them to pivot before the whole network collapsed. From 1987 to 1996, MTV debuted 39 non-music related shows and 51 music-related shows, cutting the
Ooh.
network in half basically with only 56% music content. The
Wow.
other percentage represents shows where
That's a
it's
shift.
kind of music related, but mostly not, so yeah. Remote Control, December 7th, 1987.
Wow,
was a
okay.
game
So it really does seem like they had to shift a little bit, especially considering how it wasn't becoming profitable. Like, as much as MTV probably was a staple, like, I guess it's a business at the end of the day, right? They got to make some sort of a profit. Which the model, what you was saying, it sounded like, with people, not really wanting to watch other artists that they're not interested in. Like, that's kind of a hard model to profit off, especially if your main revenue is going to come from ad revenue. So and that's a similar thing with like anything online nowadays, which is like this YouTube video watching. The longer you watch, the more ads play. That's how I get revenue in that sense. But yeah, considering what they're talking about, it kind of makes sense
Mostly
now that
not,
he's explaining
so,
it.
Yeah. Remote Control, December 7th, 1987, was a game show marking the first ever non-music show aired on music television. Ratings were at an
Wow,
all-time
okay.
low,
Game
but the
show.
game show boosted their numbers by a lot. Remote Control was a Jeopardy-style show where contestants picked a general category and had to answer trivia questions about that category. The theme was centered around pop culture, music, and movies, and the prizes were music-centered as well, so it didn't seem like it was out of place on MTV. From here, the network added anime animated
Okay.
series to their lineup of programs.
So they're
Stevie
pivoting.
and Zoya were roughly 60-second shorts that would air randomly during commercial breaks about two
Steven.
teens that thwart supervillains' plots. Liquid Television, a more notable animated series, would air June 2nd, 1991. It was a compilation of animated shorts by independent artists. Beavis and Butthead was first featured here and would go on to receive its own very successful
I've
spin-off.
heard of this
The
show
shorts were
before.
often strange but comical. For example, a parody of melodramatic soap operas but with actual soap.
You're so transparent. I know you still want me.
You're wrong.
Look
They
me in
do
the
stuff
eyes
like
and
this with
say
like
that.
You don't
iPhone
have
and
eyes.
Android.
Feisty, aren't you?
The major cultural
That's
change would
funny.
come in 1992 with The Real World. MTV took 7 strangers all in their 20s and put them in a New York City apartment to live together for a few months. It was the
So
first
that's what The Real
unscripted
World
reality show on television. It was a massive success. Also, side note, I randomly
Wow.
went back and watched this first season and it's very good. I recommend it. The cast was very well chosen. A good mix of people who would
I've never heard of this
ordinarily
before.
live together. These 7 strangers became a representation of what the 90s youth was like, talking social issues, racism, gender roles, sex. MTV gave a platform to the people of the Black, Latino, LGBTQ communities who were underrepresented in mainstream media at the time.
That seems
Norman
like
was
an
even the
interesting
first
concept.
openly bisexual man on television. The show
Wow.
was raw
Okay.
and real, and you could feel it when you watched it. The term reality television comes from The Real World. MTV literally
never heard of
invented
the
reality
show before like
TV,
that.
which we all know ended up becoming more important than their origins as the music network. One thing a lot of people don't give MTV credit for is that they continuously tried to produce music-related shows. As you can see, there's an extensive list of shows.
That's quite
Most
a
of these
lot.
only ran for a year or less for one simple reason.
Yo, there's so many, literally, like you said, only running for like a year.
As you can
What?
see, there's an extensive list of shows. Most of these only ran for a year or less for one simple reason. People didn't watch them. Why? We talked about it before. Everyone likes music, but music content is niche. It's easy to skip. I'm sure
Yeah,
if MTV had
facts.
music-related shows that were popular and profitable, they would have stuck with them. Well, they did actually have a couple. Yo MTV Raps, running from 1988 to 1995. This
Okay,
was
I
the
know
first
how to
hip-hop
that.
music show on the network. The show was 2 hours long and would feature rap videos, interviews with rap
Snoop
stars,
Dogg?
and live in-studio performances. Many iconic
wow.
groups and artists would be able to tell their
Rakim.
stories and show the real culture of rap music from the
Chris
perspective
One.
of the
Okay,
artists who
KRS-One.
created it. The notorious B.I.G. explained how he met Diddy.
My man Matty C
Oh.
got with Puff, and Puff said he wanted to do something new for Uptown, and he heard the little garbage demo, you know.
No, it was
But he just knew that
Put
he just
that
told
out.
me that he knew I could rap.
Tupac explained how he got into music.
Shock was like, come on the road. You could be my roadie,
Rest
you
in
know what I'm
peace.
saying? It ain't gonna be glamorous, but you'll be working, you'll be meeting people.
The Wu-Tang Clan performed Cream live.
Yeah, all these artists I don't know much
It
about.
was a
you know.
hip-hop head's paradise and helped rap music become accepted as a mainstream genre. The Grind,
Wow, I
airing
know
in
they're popular.
1992, was another hip-hop-centric show, featuring the hottest new rap and hip-hop records in a club-like atmosphere with young people dancing and enjoying the music. The dance
That's
party would be
great.
punctuated by short clips of the respective tracks' music videos. You could feel like you were at the club and maybe even learn a few new dance moves
Wow.
from the comfort of your living room. They did
you
have
got,
some
you got a
music-related...
camera going through like a club type vibe set. That's just different. That's interesting, man. If I was in something like that would just seem so contrived though, like so inauthentic. With a camera going around like that, like I'll just start dancing like commercial, like for the camera. That's interesting though.
Hottest
MTV
new
are really
rap
trying
and
things.
hip-hop records in a club-like atmosphere with young people dancing and enjoying the music. The dance party would be punctuated by short clips of the respective tracks' music videos. You could feel like you were at the club and maybe even learn a few new dance moves from the comfort
Look
of
at
your
those
living room.
dance
They did have
moves.
some
Those some
music-related
80s
hit
dance
shows,
moves.
but it's not like the other shows they put on the network at the time were so left field that they didn't contribute to the musical zeitgeist at all. Beavis and Butthead is an iconic cartoon that was about 2 stoners who watched music videos on their couch, while Celebrity Deathmatch was about celebrities, a lot of the times musicians, fighting to the death. MTV
music
was
related.
creating culture. However, some of their audience still wanted just music, which they were providing with programs like the Top 20 Video Countdown and MTV Unplugged, but it wasn't enough. So in 1996,
Wasn't
on their
enough.
15th anniversary, they launched M2, later becoming MTV2,
M2.
which was them going back to their origins of just playing music videos 24/7. If you only wanted music, you could go over to their second channel and consume just that, which is basically what I did with my second YouTube channel. It's all music-related content. MTV2 would play an hour-long,
enough, fair
day-long, sometimes even one weekend-long segment dedicated to just one band. Music videos from all different kinds of artists and all genres. They even attempted to play every music video in their catalog in alphabetical order. To no surprise, MTV2 was not a huge hit. Music fans loved to point the finger at MTV and blame them for broadcasting non-music shows, but failed to tune in when the network created something music-related. Or maybe it was just the casuals that didn't tune in. So the actual music fans represented such a small percentage of MTV's viewership that it wasn't enough to keep the network profitable. From 1997 to 2008, MTV debuted 151 non-music related shows and 56 music-related shows. Now only 25% of the network was music content. At the turn of the century, MTV played 36.5% fewer music videos. MTV president Van Toffler stated, "Clearly, the novelty of just showing music videos has worn off. It's required us to reinvent ourselves to a contemporary audience." Can we really blame MTV, which at the end of the day is just a business, for simply listening to the data and investing into the content that their audience is watching? Music is deeply rooted in all aspects of pop culture. It was becoming evident that people would rather listen to music in their headphones, on their way to work and school, or at a party, not on TV. However, we are about to enter in what my generation would argue as the best MTV era. TRL aired September of 1998. The 10 most requested music videos of the day, as voted by viewers via phone and later the internet.
So
would be
this
played.
is the MTV that is a little bit I'm more familiar with, because I didn't realize how much they centered their stuff around music from around the 80s.
TRL.
I still don't really tune into
September
MTV like that at all.
The 10 most requested music videos of the day, as voted by viewers via phone and later the internet, would be played in a top 10 style. Celebrity guests would also make appearances and have short, informal interviews with the host, Carson Daly. The energy was always high on TRL due to it being broadcasted live in front of a studio audience. You could hear the cheers of the crowd as the next celebrity guest was introduced. The studio was located in Times Square. Large crowds would gather outside the studio hoping to catch a glimpse of their favorite artist.
That's a lot of
2000,
people.
it was one of MTV's most watched programs.
Due
to its popularity, it became an important promotional tool for artists. I think in the dead center of the music industry, TRL is certainly maybe the most important thing at the moment for these top 10 artists. The Backstreet Boys were at their peak in the early years of TRL. They made an appearance May 18th, 1999 to promote their new album Millennium, which was released that day. The album would go on to be certified 13 times platinum. We can't credit this success to TRL entirely, but it certainly helped. So many fans showed up outside the TRL studio during their appearance that the NYPD were forced to shut down the roads in Times Square, one of the world's busiest intersections. A number of other culturally iconic moments would happen on TRL over the next couple of years. May 2000, Eminem would host his own version of TRL dubbed MTV, where he referred to music videos from the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Britney Spears as trash.
Yesterday on TRL, we saw Britney Spears, NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and a bunch of other trash.
He played his own top 10 rather than the typical fan voted, as well as parodying popular MTV shows, making fun of the TRL VJs, and dissing popular musicians.
Oh, he was, MTV was moving, like, it seemed like he was moving a little bit counterculture, a little bit rebellious during these times. I had no clue this existed.
Making fun of the TRL VJs and dissing popular musicians. 2002, Beyonce and Jay-Z would seemingly make their first public debut as a couple, performing 03 Bonnie and Clyde. 2003, P. Diddy and Britney Spears made an appearance where Diddy ran on a treadmill for an hour in preparation for the New York City Marathon, while Britney dabbed the sweat from his forehead with a towel. TRL in the early 2000s was a cultural moment that I don't think. And
so many of these guys are controversial today, man. Like, that's just like, it's mad how times are twisted.
And on a treadmill for an hour in preparation for the New York City Marathon, while Britney dabbed the sweat from his forehead with a towel. TRL in the early 2000s was a cultural moment that I don't think could be recreated. The early 2000s was also booming with iconic and creative MTV shows. The Tom Green Show, Boiling Points, Jackass, Viva La Band, Wild
I've heard
Boys,
of Jackass.
Punk,
I don't know
Making
about
the Band, True Life, Date My Mom, Room Raiders, Next, Parental Control, High School Stories, My Super Sweet 16, Pimp My Ride, The Andy Milonakis Show, Made,
I don't know about any
Cribs,
of these.
and so many more. MTV was absolutely crushing it with ideas. It was these shows that would be the foundation for content creators on YouTube who still to this day are basically making the 2022 version of an old MTV show. The shows that weren't about music, I will admit, were drifting further and further away from having any music relevance. However, they still had shows like Run's House, which was a reality show about Run DMC, his life, keeping viewers in touch with hip-hop culture, The Osbournes, which followed Ozzy Osbourne, his family, heavy metal culture, Meet the Barkers, which followed Travis Barker, punk emo culture, Ashley Simpson Show, pop music culture. A lot of these shows were unique, they were weird, very cringy, and most of them didn't age well. But they took elements of different music
Interesting.
cultures and brought them together to one network. You could even argue that the most diverse time for popular music in general was in the early 2000s.
I hear
MTV
it.
was the entertainment industry and was this beautifully chaotic representation of so many different kinds of personalities and cultures. The generation before it hated it, of course, because they remembered MTV as just music videos and the occasional boring biography about how Kenny Loggins grew up in
That's so
Washington and started his
interesting.
first high school band. That shit was boring. Music has
Hey,
always
he's got to be a millennial, man. But I think that's just how it goes, isn't it? Like when when things start to go from how they were and you start to get these more newer renditions of it. I think people always gonna have this like this attachment to the original, like the part that they grew up with. So when it starts to change, like you're kind of, I feel like a lot of people are gonna naturally reject or like say stuff like I wish we could go back to the good old days, or like, you know, take me back to the old times, or things were much better back then. But I feel like it happens with every generation. Like I'm gonna be saying the same things about early 2000s. Like I wish we could go back to early 2000s. Obviously I didn't grow up before them times, so I didn't really know. But and I'm a bit different. I'm just saying in general, like for the videos that I'll be doing and checking out, like me personally, I would like to go back to before the internet time just to experience what that was like. But yeah, I hear it. Like there's always gonna be people hating on the newer side of things, to be fair. So
boring
I
biography
feel like you
about
can't
how
escape
Kenny
that.
Loggins grew up in Washington and started his first high school band. That
guy's a
shit was
troll.
boring. Music has always been about personality, about style. It's more than just melodies and instruments. MTV may have been playing a small percentage of music on television, but they defined a generation of musical artists, how
Yeah,
they
they
act,
did.
how
They
they
did.
dress, how they relate
Lady
to the
Gaga.
youth, all by giving them a platform to millions of global viewers.
They really
every
shaped
day.
the culture
They were doing
now as
so
well.
great with non-music related stuff that they almost gave up entirely. From 2008 to 2016, MTV debuted 101 non-music related shows
That's a
and
change.
5 music related shows.
See,
Now
now this
only
is when I
5%
tuned
of
into
the
MTV a
network
little
was
bit.
music content.
I
Music videos
actually didn't even know MTV was fully music like that at a point. I generally didn't realize that.
music related shows.
If it wasn't for me
Now
doing
only
these videos.
5% of the network was music content. Music videos were featured on MTV up to 8 hours per day in 2000. The year 2008 saw an average of just 3 hours of music videos per day. TRL's relevance dwindled and the ratings were at an all-time low.
Rihanna,
Some
well,
people
you got
say it's
some,
because of
yeah.
Carson Daly leaving, but it's tough to
Oh,
really
he
pinpoint
left.
why. Some things
Probably
just become
was.
less cool over time. The kids who used to
True.
stand out in Times Square for 3 hours to get a glimpse of the back of Justin Timberlake's head grew up. They are now in crippling college debt and working in a cubicle hating their lives. While kids like me were hooked on the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon,
kill
and
me.
Cartoon Network. In 2008, they officially canceled TRL with a special 3-hour episode. On the non-music front, MTV
Wow.
still had popular
Canceled.
shows. In fact, they were the only shows keeping the cash flowing for the network. Robin Big, Fantasy Factory, Nitro Circus,
I don't know
America's
about
Best
any of
Dance
those.
Crew, Silent Library, Bully Beatdown, The Hills, My Super Sweet 16, Made, Jersey Shore, Teen Mom. The
Jersey
great
Shore,
social media
Teen
emergence
Mom.
was happening, and truthfully, TV in general was struggling. Just before
Yeah.
everyone jumped ship, MTV had a couple shows with record-breaking numbers. Jersey Shore
Yeah.
aired
I heard
December
about
3rd,
Jersey Shore.
2009 to 1.38 million viewers. 8 housemates would live together at a vacation
What, is
home
that
in
all
Seaside
fake
Heights,
tan?
New Jersey, which is also where my first job was. The show would often focus on the cast going out to clubs, getting way too drunk, the occasional fight, plenty of drama, and the tumultuous
This is early
relationships between
2000s.
cast members. It wasn't an instant hit, but after the first season, drew huge viewership. Season 2 premiered to 5.25 million viewers, and by season 3, 8.4 million viewers turned in for the premiere, making it MTV's highest viewed telecast ever.
Makes
It would
sense.
break that record again with 8.87 million viewers for season 3, episode 4. Throughout the 6 seasons, they would average about 5.8 million viewers across the whole series. 4 of the cast members
That's a
would go on
lot.
to receive their own spin-off series on MTV. And the anonymous letter to Sammy would go on to become one of the best memes ever. Sam, the first night at bed when you left,
I don't know
Ron
about
made
this
out
meme.
with 2 girls and put his head between a cocktail waitress's breasts. Also was
crazy.
grinding with multiple fat women. Teen Mom, December 8th,
And I've heard of
2009,
Teen Mom
aired
as
to
well.
2.1 million viewers. This would follow the lives of several young mothers navigating the hardships of being a teen
I think
mom,
I've seen the
with a
Mackie
focus on their
woman
complicated
before.
family and romantic relationships.
Or Macy.
The series would grow to pull in 5.6 million viewers for the finale of the second season. Teen Mom would actually have a positive impact on the youth. MTV's
Right.
16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom led to a 5.7% reduction in teen births.
Right, 'cause you
this
see
series
the-
would also endure the test of time, with its original series renamed Teen Mom OG and its many spin-offs still being aired on
wow.
the network till this day.
Is it like them when they're
Catfish is
older?
another program
Catfish,
that
I know
since its
about
first
Catfish.
episode in 2012 is still being shown on the network today.
To this day.
series focuses on the deception of individuals making fake
Yes,
profiles on
yes.
social media sites and essentially
Okay, so this is what I know MTV for. Like if I was to think of MTV, like I didn't even realize MTV was like popular in the 80s like that. From when I started finding out about MTV, like, and I was scrolling through some of my channels back when I used to actually watch channels and stuff like that before the internet really started. And I now watch YouTube videos and TikTok and stuff. Catfish, I used to watch quite a bit, and Teen Mum here and there, which is interesting how this was like kind of on the where they really segued away from music videos. But yeah, this is now where I start to clock in.
Another program
This is
that since
interesting.
its
I didn't
first
realize how
episode in
much changed.
2012 is still being shown on the network today. This series focuses on the deception of individuals making fake profiles on social
Catfish
media
was
sites and
big
essentially
when I
lying
was
to
young,
become
man.
romantically involved with an unsuspecting victim. The producers would then set up a meeting
Yeah,
between the
these two.
catfish and the victim, who had never met in real life previously. This would often lead
This
to great
show is
disappointment
mad.
because the catfish was not who they presented themselves to be online. They would look entirely
Yeah,
different,
some of these
not
are
live
crazy.
the lifestyle they described, and sometimes not even be the sex they had presented as.
Some of those are crazy.
A man.
Obviously.
This obviously led to some pretty good TV with
some of
very
this can't
real
be real,
reactions
though.
ranging from disbelief, sadness, anger, and the occasional, you know what, we can make this work.
He and I
Excuse
tell
me.
you one thing right now,
Excuse
buddy.
me.
One thing you're gonna like. You're gonna learn to love it too.
What the hell are you talking about?
What is
I'm
this
gonna be
guy?
the one wearing the
I haven't
pants in
seen this.
Understand
What?
that?
Dude, you're being.
Come here. We're gonna talk. You,
We ain't got. We don't talk.
This can't be real.
you could still be my chocolate kiss too. You don't forget about that, baby.
The 2011 VMAs would become the most
Yo,
watched
surely that's not real. Surely that's fake. The people like this actually exist in real life. This is the part that actually scares me, that shocks me. There's people like this that actually like this in real life. I still can't believe this, man. To be fair, what I see on the internet these days isn't far from this. Probably worse. So, you know, I continue to be gobsmacked.
My chocolate kiss too. You don't forget about that, baby.
Chocolate kiss
The
is crazy.
2011 VMAs would become
That's
the most
crazy.
watched broadcast in MTV history, pulling in
Yeah,
a whopping
mate, okay.
12.4 million viewers. Beyonce famously announced that she was pregnant with her first child during the awards. This announcement would break the record at the time for the most tweets per second recorded for a single event, with 8,868 tweets per second. From a numbers standpoint, everything seemed all good with MTV. VMAs were
You would think
booming,
so.
their reality shows were at an all-time high,
Reality
but MTV
shows.
lost their identity. In 2010, they dropped the music television branding. So now MTV didn't actually stand for
Oh,
anything.
wow.
Before,
That's
the network appealed to
crazy.
music listeners. Sure, the reality shows brought in the dollars, but the music videos and the music shows kept that reminder that we are a music-based network that also dips into other areas of pop culture. After 2010, it was the opposite. They only appealed to a mainstream pop culture audience and didn't have any music-related stuff to fall back on, which is all good, but keeps this
That's not
insane
good
amount
for the
of pressure for
original
the network to
core.
constantly be cutting edge, producing the hottest show that kids around the world are identifying with. You see, before social media, whatever MTV put on was what defined us. Now with Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, YouTube, and every teenager having access to the entire internet at their
Yeah.
fingertips, kids became influenced by so many other things. Teenagers are
Hey, why the internet ruin all these things that were before the internet, man? Like, I swear the internet is the reason why a lot of these like shows, broadcasting networks, even some IRL things like some stores closing down because of the internet. Like, just the online world has really destroyed a lot of this pre-online world stuff, man.
more individualistic,
Damn.
not just identifying and buying into whatever is fed to them. Instead of adapting, it seems like MTV just kind of wrote out what was working. They strung along together
Even like
another season of
VHS
Catfish,
movies
another
and
Teen
stuff.
Mom, another Jersey Shore spinoff. They stopped innovating, not even trying any music-related shows
Right.
since they dropped the branding. Plus, the world was moving at a much faster pace. By the time they came up with an idea, cast, shoot, edit, and release a show, it could be irrelevant to the kids. TV networks weren't
Yeah.
taking YouTube and Instagram seriously enough.
Seriously.
In 2016, MTV finally reached an all-time low and decided, okay, we're going to bring the music back. They announced
Oh,
14
wow.
new
Oh, they brought it
series
back.
that are inspired by a renewed focus on music and youth culture.
Yo,
On
they're
top of that,
trying.
TRL is back. The series we once loved is going to be at the forefront of music once again. It
For
seemed like their hearts
real.
were in the right place, and they were listening to the commenters on the internet begging for music to be played on
Wow.
TV. But it was too late. They had already given up on music for about 10 years at this point.
It was
It's not
too
shocked
late.
that TRL didn't last. None
didn't
of
work.
the new
Wow.
programs stuck. Plus,
Tough.
the need for MTV is gone. Why would an artist want to put effort effort into MTV showing their video when
What
they
is
could
that?
potentially get hundreds of millions of views on YouTube? If they played Needed Me by Rihanna on MTV in 2016 for 24 hours straight for a week, it still wouldn't have gotten the 300 million viewers that it has on YouTube.
The internet
Plus,
changed
MTV
things,
isn't
man.
paying you. So why not just put effort into social media marketing, which will bring people directly to streaming services where you can make money from them listening to your music. Artists can directly reach their fans by just uploading to their own personal account, and fans just search for any artist they want to listen to whenever they want. We just don't need MTV for music anymore. But now even their moneymaker shows were running out of gas. By 2020, the only thing that seemed to work for them was ridiculousness. Ridiculousness is a good show for the moment because it has that comfort food appeal across multiple generations. It's seen repeat viewers jump from twice a week to 6 times per week, and the network has increased our time spent viewing by 21% with our stacks of ridiculousness. Rob Dyrdek sold them the idea for this show back in 2007 because he saw America's best home videos sell for $500 million in global syndication. This show was able to last 900 episodes because it is the perfect thing to put on when you want to turn off your brain after a long day, providing the same mindless, thoughtless, and unstimulating value to your cluttered brain. It's also the best thing to put on in the background at a barbershop or bar restaurant. MTV has fully given up all hope. They have been losing money for over a decade and have gave up their identity as well. Even on the 40th anniversary of the network, they didn't play a documentary, no throwbacks, no nostalgia, just 24 hours straight of ridiculousness. They aren't trying to tap into the youth culture. They aren't investing in social media or today's musical landscape. Maybe they're working on some Paramount Plus originals, but since it's behind a paywall, 90% of us won't see it. MTV had an amazing run, provided so much for music and for pop culture. Sadly, we can't love MTV anymore because there just isn't anything there to love.
Yo, that's deep. And that was right at the end of the video. Guys, you guys let me know, man. What do you guys think about this? Can you blame MTV for the pivots that they made? Can you blame, was the downfall inevitable? I feel like from what it looked like, it seemed like they were really holding on to something that was just not one of those things that was meant to last forever, especially with how the culture started to shift with the internet. Unless MTV wanted to start shifting into the online world, maybe they could have, maybe that's where they went wrong. Maybe if they really took YouTube seriously on Instagram and really pivoted into the online space like fully, like, and invested more into it, maybe they could have been had a monopoly on a lot of these artists that wanted to, that then ended up transitioning to like putting their stuff online instead of going like putting on MTV. Like maybe they could have set up some deals where they could have had some links there. Maybe they could have lasted longer. But yeah, I don't know. It really does seem like they were really holding on to something that was just slipping away. Surely we're just always gonna go. Even when I started to tune into MTV with like these Teen Moms, the Catfish shows. Even now, like in the 2020s, like they're kind of falling off / irrelevant, at least to my generation. Like people it's like you know of it for the nostalgia and whatnot, but other than a couple of episodes, like you're not really, you kind of just move on. At least from what my perspective, I don't know. But look, I love to know how this one affects you guys, especially you guys that grew up during the times where you can remember MTV during the early days. What do you think MTV could have done better or done wrong, in retrospect? Or do you just think, this is, they did well for what they were, and like they said, like can you blame MTV for pivoting into more like non-music related content, especially if that was where they were getting their money? And yeah, I feel like it's one of those ones where you get people that want you to do a certain type of thing, but you don't realize the logistics that go behind it, And if you want them to do music videos, you gotta be watching throughout the whole thing. But people just don't want to do that. So that's just how it goes, man. I don't know, man. This is an interesting watch, man, because I hear a lot about how MTV was a popular thing back in the day, especially for music videos. But nowadays, I don't really hear much about it. So you guys let me know how this one impacted you. Do you agree or disagree with this video? Or is there any other bits you guys like to check out? Maybe some other like popular things back in the day that, you think this reminds you of that may have fell off that you want me to dive into? I'd love to know in the comments below. Make this point, comment down a yellow heart so I know who my real ones are. And I feel like yellow is the heart that comes to my mind when I think of MTV. So just in tribute of MTV. And yeah, guys, shout out to you guys who made this point. If you want to see some more videos from me, I'll leave some links at the end of the video. But look, with that being said, guys, I've been your boy JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.